Y sean todos más que bienvenidos, mi gente, a un nuevo video de su canal La Verdad Oculta, un capítulo más, la continuación de todo lo que ha estado sucediendo con el Bugati Chiron Pure Sport que Matt Armstrong ha estado reconstruyendo por los últimos meses en la ciudad de Miami. Hoy una actualización, sí, realmente por primera vez después de tanto tiempo, el Chiron está en las calles de Miami y Matt Armstrong lo conduce por primera vez. Aún no está totalmente terminado, pero sí, esto es bastante bueno porque ya pudo pues poner el vehículo a las alturas de la temperatura requerida y lo pudo pues manejar por el parqueo de la nave de donde lo han estado reconstruyendo estos últimos días, estos últimos 2 meses. Realmente el Chiron está de vuelta. El CEO Bugatti solamente le queda pues ver la conclusión de toda esta trama, porque independientemente de todo lo que él decía, de que no podía ser reconstruido por una persona en cualquier garaje, ya que nada más existían 2 grupos de personas capacitadas en el mundo, pues Matt aquí le calla la boca nuevamente y demuestra que todo lo que fue creado por el hombre, otro hombre puede pues reconstruirlo. Realmente, más que agradecido con cada uno de ustedes por el apoyo que le han estado brindando a mi canal. Realmente, si aún no estás suscrito a mi canal, te recomiendo que te suscribas, que compartas el contenido, que me dejes tu like, pero sobre todo que me dejes tu comentario. Que de paso, quiero aprovechar, y va a ser la última vez que me refiera hacia esas personas que hacen sus comentarios despectivos sobre mí. Miren, el respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. Lamentablemente, ni siquiera el dinero le cae bien a todas las personas. Yo te puedo, pues, aceptar cualquier tipo de comentario, pero lo que nunca te voy a aceptar es las ofensas ni las malas palabras. Si tanto te molesta lo que yo hago, crea un canal de YouTube y crea tú algún tipo de contenido o haz algo positivo con tu vida, porque solamente te quedarás verme brillar desde las gradas mientras yo soy uno de los jugadores principales del partido que tú vas a estar viendo por el resto de tu vida. Cada quien habla de lo que tiene dentro de su corazón, pero que tú no estés de acuerdo con el contenido que yo haga, te lo respeto. Yo soy un creador de contenido, yo reacciono a videos y si lamentablemente no te gusta el contenido que yo hago, eso no te da el derecho de tú querer ofender. Pero te exhorto a que te crees una cuenta de YouTube. Si es tan fácil hacer contenido, tú deberías de ser uno de los que esté haciendo y no criticando ni ofendiendo por ahí a los que realmente estamos intentando lograr nuestro sueño. Así que bueno, luego de esto, sin más preámbulos, vamos a pasar porque hoy, en el día de hoy, Matt pone por primera vez el Bugatti Chiron de más de 6 millones en las calles de Miami. Y luego de que el CEO de Bugatti dijera que esto no iba a ser nunca posible, queda demostrado de que sí se puede.
Today we're going to drive the Bugatti Chiron for the first time since the accident. We come so close in the last video to being able to drive it, but we did manage to fit the new interior and the new radiators, but there is one thing that stopped us.
Oh no. No!
The radiator at the front failed our pressure test, which means that we weren't able to fill the car up with coolant. Now Bob made these radiators from scratch because we weren't able to get them from Bugatti, but we think this one here, you can see the dent, we think that one got damaged in transit. But we've still managed to split the car in half, repair the gearbox mounting, put the car back together, start it for the first time and replace all of the airbags. That is an Aston Martin airbag fitted into a Bugatti Chiron. But if we have any hope on getting this car running, then we've got to fix this radiator first.
Aparentemente en la transportación de el último pues radiador tuvo un pequeño golpe, el cual ocasionó que el radiador se ponchara, que realmente se averiara, y por esta situación en el video anterior él no había podido ponerlo en marcha el carro. En este video vamos a ver los dolores de cabeza que da la reconstrucción de este radiador, un detalle fulminante que se queda para un próximo video sobre un error que Matt cometió antes de ensamblar o de juntar las dos partes de este coche, que ahora mismo lo pone en una situación un poco delicada, pero sobre todo vamos a ver cómo él reconstruía la parte delantera del coche para poder conectar los sensores de impacto de este coche para eliminar las luces de las bolsas de aire.
Right, let's pick up where we left off from, which was right at the back here. There is one coolant expansion tank reservoir here, and that is for the engine coolant. This is another coolant reservoir, and this is for the charged coolers, and also they're gonna have radiators at the front as well. One of them has been made by Bob, the other one is original. We need to check the pressure on this as well, because if there is any leaks, we should fix it now before we start fixing the other radiators. So we're gonna put some pressure through this one, because we never got that far yet, and we'll see if any air comes out of that. Hopefully it holds pressure in that. Let's see. To do that, we need this mechanism here. Literally screws onto the coolant reservoir. And then we need this little mechanism goes onto the mechanism. And that will create a seal. Right, now we're gonna pump and see if we get some pressure. Now I'm just literally pumping the air into the cooling system and hoping that it will hold the pressure. Because this didn't end so well when we did the engine side of the coolant. 10 PSI, I think that should be enough if we could hear a little hissing. Let's go have a little search. And so far, so good. Can't hear anything coming from the radiators. It looks like that's holding. Good news. We double and triple checked them, but everything seemed good. So the only broken radiator was the one in the center, which was part of the engine cooling. So now it's time to start dismantling it again and taking it all off so we can see how we can repair it. First off, removing the top hose, the bottom hose. This is of the radiator in front. Then we need to go underneath the car and remove the right-hand side hose and the left-hand side hose of the radiator.
Cabe recalcar que este coche usa aproximadamente 8 radiadores. Usa suficiente líquido para refrigerar y para enfriar este motor biturbo.
And you can see how it's damaged. There's a dent right there on the branch of the radiator. So now all that's left to do is separate them both, and then we can see how we can fix it. And I think I know just the guy. Oh, it's broken.
It's bent.
Yes, it definitely had impact. It felt like it was coming from the inside of the core there.
So the way they're made, they're dipped in some magic stuff and then baked. So the seal along the side of the core is tough, but it's very, very thin. So if it does take an impact, the metal around here is very strong. So get that pushed in there and it just breaks the seal.
Oh, okay. How are we going to fix it?
I brought a core with me.
Oh, we're going to re-core the whole thing?
Yeah.
So does that mean you've got to take these tabs off and everything?
I'm putting them back on the right side.
Right, let's re-core, and I think we've got some more stuff that we need to do as well. Right, Bob, round 2. Let's do it. So essentially, what Bob's going to do is cut off this section of the radiator. This is the part that took the long...
Miren, dicen un viejo dicho que el éxito, o para tú ser exitoso, nunca se logra solo. Realmente Matt tiene un crew, tiene un equipo detrás de él que son 1A. Pero yo creo que una de las personas que más mérito necesita o debería de obtener es Bob. Porque lo que este hombre hace es pura obra de arte con su conocimiento.
That obvious damage there.
The fins are damaged there because I just put through the side of it and the saw blade hit the fin.
Oh, that sucks. Is it just a case of putting this on the other one?
Well done.
And Bob has brought with him an entire new radiator core. So he's just got to weld the tanks off the other one onto this one. Next step, I think we can do, we're just doing all these little tiny bits, which are very time consuming. This fuse board here took a beating in the accident, and I managed to find that they were off a Lamborghini Gallardo. This is a Lamborghini Gallardo.
Y seguimos con el híbrido, que es lo que todo el tiempo hemos criticado de este coche. Este coche es un híbrido. Le guste o no le guste el término, esto es un híbrido. Pieza de Audi, pieza de Volkswagen, pieza de Mercedes-Benz, pieza de Lamborghini. O sea, este coche está armado. De cada coche tiene algo, de cada marca tiene algo. Realmente no sé cómo puede costar tanto dinero. Y increíble, increíble.
Fuse board. I'm going to switch this out onto there. Let's start switching them over. Luckily, most of the parts that have been broken on this Bugatti have been interchangeable with other parts on other cars. Just like this Gallardo fuse box. The only thing that isn't interchangeable was the cover that goes over the top. The Gallardo doesn't have one, but the Bugatti did. So that's something that we're going to have to make. But for now, the fuses are in and Bob's ready to weld on the tanks onto the core of the radiator. He lines them all up, tack welds them onto each corner, and then the proper TIG welding.
Yo creo que esta es la parte de que más trabajo y más dolores de cabeza le da, porque él trajo otro núcleo desde Reino Unido, pero ahora entonces el radiador que él trajo es un poco más grande que el que tenía anteriormente.
At the back of the Chiron. And what we actually noticed previously is this is a secondary air pump. Blows air into the exhaust to cut emissions on a cold start. Load of weird stuff. It's not really needed, but sometimes it can make it misfire from cold start. And this one was always missing. We don't know why. We don't know why that was taken off, and I still don't know why it was taken off. Obviously, we can't order one. So we had to cross-reference this one, and what I found is
Volkswagen
one of
Passat.
a Volkswagen Passat, I think it was. Now that is exactly the same as that, but I have noticed a small issue is that the air filter, which clips on here and the air filter goes on there, that sucks the air in, is slightly different. So I've had to order an air filter off another air pump, which should be arriving, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue of being able to fit this. I hope it's not handed left hand and right hand. So I'm gonna take this one off this bracket, fit it to here, and then hopefully when we start the car, the next time, it should actually run really nice there, provided it's got fuel, because we forgot about that last time. Let's do it. These secondary air pumps only really start up when the car's on cold start, and it blows fresh air into the exhaust system, so then it can try and heat up the catalytic converters as quick as possible. That way, it reduces the emissions on the cold start. But I think if you've got a W16 engine, emissions isn't the first thing on your mind. If you don't have these, it's likely you'll bring an engine light on the dash. Luckily, I found this one off a Volkswagen Passat, and it fits straight in. All I need is the air filter for it, which should arrive later. Good?
Good, all good.
That's the next step, it's looking good.
Yeah.
Time for the ultimate test, the pressure test. Right, we're going to 14 PSI.
Is it at the moment of truth?
Sorry, I went to 20 instead.
20.
Bob's made the new radiator, and what we're doing now is pressure testing it off the car. We've blocked over all the exit ports of the radiator, and we're pumping air into one side to see if it holds pressure. 25. 31. 36. Yeah, it's just seeming like, I think we're good. I'm going to relieve it of some pressure before we all have an explosion in here. But that's good. Good work. Good start. It's a good start to the Miami trip from Bob. And although the rad didn't have any leaks, when we went to fit it up against the other radiator, something was wrong.
What's happening there?
Es más grande.
A minute ago, these fitted.
He's thinking now. He's confused.
Can you see what's happened here? Look, so that line's there, and this now. Is this wide? Is this bit wider? What's happened? Yeah, that lines up good there, look. Hole goes straight through, no problem. That line's up there. And then this is only slightly off, like I reckon the bracket could adjust. Oh, but this isn't quite.
No, it's bigger.
It's slightly big.
wrong.
What, they made the core bigger?
Yeah, it's 10 mil bigger.
Oh my god.
Oh no, oh no, no. It seems like the actual radiator core that Bob's brought over is 10 mil wider than the old one we had.
10 milésima de pulgada.
Let's see if it singly goes on. Right. This might not be a problem as long as it fits in between the chassis legs.
Doesn't seem too bad.
And it looks like it does. So all we need to do is try and modify this radiator now so it will actually bolt on to the other rad. I think we can still make that work because these brackets, I remember they did have adjustment.
Rubber mounted anyway, so.
Yeah, I think it can still work. The good news is though, there's more cooling in 10 mil. It's got more chance of staying cool. So literally, yeah, tiny bit move in, tiny bit move in. We're nearly there, almost.
Give me 20 minutes.
20 minutes of Bob welding. So Bob is now going to modify the brackets on this radiator so then it will fit against the other radiator. Because you can see that the new core measures in at 66 millimeters, whereas the old one measures in at 65. So whilst he's modifying that, I'm going to put on the rear bumper. The one thing that we can put on is the rear bumper, because the rear bumper doesn't need to be painted, and I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to crack on at doing that. With the rear bumper on, it means the rear light's on as well, so at least we've got like a brake light and everything if we do end up going up and down the road. So first step is the rear crash bar area. Unlike a normal aluminium or steel crash bar, the Bugatti has a sort of extended one with carbon fibre, and I dread to think how much this costs. But luckily, there was no damage to the rear of Alex's car, so the old ones could just bolt straight on. Next step is this sort of scoop for some kind of cooling or airflow which sits over the exhaust. Then, it's time for the rear bumper. As you can see, none of it needs painting because the whole thing is completely carbon.
Cut this piece off because I need to move it 5 mil that way. But what I've done also, he's got a bit too close to his fitting. So I've thinned out the wall there, and I'm afraid that might leak once it all goes back together. And it'll leak underneath that, which is no good to me because there's a hole in it, come through, and never be able to get to it in the future. So what I'm going to do first is seal this area. So when I put the fitting back on, or this thing back on...
Vamos a adelantarlo un poquito aquí.
Bob is now making sure the wall won't leak once he puts the new fitting back on. Then he can clean up the fitting, put that 5 mil closer, and then weld it to it. And whilst he's doing that, I'm now sliding back up. We know we've got a leak.
Vamos a adelantarlo un poquito aquí, porque ahí Bob tiene prácticamente que volver a reparar el radiador como en 2 o 3 ocasiones más. Y realmente, pues, ver más de lo mismo como que no llama mucho, pues, la atención. Vamos a ver aquí donde él hace nuevamente la prueba de presión
20
al radiador.
And we left it for a few minutes, and the negative pressure seems to be holding in the same spot, which is good news. Guys, we are rolling deep in minus 21 inches of mercury right now. We are rolling hard, and we've been rolling hard for a good couple of minutes. I think we're looking good. Let's go, Bob. Let's go, Bob. Just for context as well, that's half one in the morning, US time. That's like 6:30 in
1:30 de la mañana.
And we're there. We are there. Come on. That's good enough to fill coolant in. And I think that's the next step. 39 litres of coolant this car takes. An insane amount. And we've got to vacuum fill all of it. In the hose goes into the bucket, and as soon as we open the tap, the negative pressure is going to suck all of the coolant into that cooling system. Normally, I would have filled the hose up with coolant first just to prevent any air getting into it. But I'm not too worried about airlocks on this car.
It's still going down. This is an insane amount of coolant. This is ridiculous.
I was having to top the bucket up fast.
I can't believe how much is going in.
And bit by bit, it was sucking all of the coolant in.
Regardless of how hard we try to get this car back to original, back to how it should be, no matter what we do, if you put the VIN number into car vertical, you're always going to see that this car has history of being crash damaged. And that will happen with all the cars that have been...
Ooh. We've got wet here. Something wasn't right. Bob ain't having a good day with these radiators, is he? We vacuum tested it, look.
Literally just
Sigue goteando.
I'm starting to think he just wants to go back to Miami.
Oh, the mounts that Bob had just moved were leaking for a tiny hole. We've just filled it all with coolant. We just filled the whole thing with coolant. Now we've got to empty it all back out. Oh no. Not only on one side,
Incredible.
but also on the other side as well. All the coolant out. Get this right out. Bob ain't here, so I'm going to be Bob right now. I've seen him weld many times. Let's see if I can fix this for good. I've got to learn at some point anyway. I've got to learn. Also...
Él dice, Bob no está aquí, pero yo voy a ser Bob. Ustedes van a ver más adelante, él intenta soldarlo, pero realmente no puede. Tiene que volver a llamar a Bob.
I'm loading up the pressure tester now so we can see exactly where the holes are in this radiator. That hole there.
Seeping out.
Have I got the minerals to weld that?
Yes.
I like your confidence.
Yeah.
Do you know what? We'll start with that side. That's a smaller hole in it. I've watched Bob weld so many times now. I can weld MIG steel. Well, when I say I can weld, like it's a poor attempt, but it works. Surely that welder is set up to weld this type of stuff. Bob was doing it yesterday, wasn't he? Not here today. First step, let's make sure it's nice and clean, and then we're going to start welding.
Yo lo puedo hacer, yo lo voy a hacer, yo lo he visto muchas veces. Presten atención, presten atención.
And once I was happy with my attempt, it's time to get going on a Bugatti radiator. No pressure. I was being really careful because I didn't want to damage the radiator any more than it already was. And as for Bob, well, he was out enjoying himself. But actually, it looks like we might not have needed him for this. Time to pressure test it to see if my welds are going to actually hold up.
Y
This one weren't that bad.
ahora bota más.
I think we need to wait for Bob.
Yeah. It didn't work. No. Never mind.
15 minutes. Then that caused it to leak for some reason. We pressure tested it with a vacuum tester after, it didn't show up, and then once we put coolant in it, it showed up, which makes no sense. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It was also 3 a.m. in the morning.
It was 3 a.m. Yeah, it was 3 a.m. when we were doing it. So
Sí, eran como las 3 de la mañana. Vamos a adelantarlo un poquito aquí.
I'm just going to pour the
Vamos
water
a la
straight in
parte.
because, as I mentioned before, I'm not too worried about airlocks because the reservoir is so high.
Oh.
That's all gone as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as if we didn't get caught on the floor. So. Next step is that one. I'm also again confident to pour that in because it's so high up. I think the air will find its way to that place, so I'm confident just to pour that one in instead of vacuum filling it. Again, the amount of coolant that this car takes is completely shocking. I've never known a car like it. Oh, perfect. Yeah, look, the air is literally finding its way out. It doesn't have a name, this car.
Beatrice.
Ed. Oh, Ed. Yeah, Ed Scott, yeah.
Why Ed?
Ed Chiron.
Ed Sheeran, oh my god.
Eventually, the coolant reservoir for all the...
100 litres of fuel and you can get for it in
Vamos a
10 minutes.
adelantarlo un poquito aquí.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Estamos casi llegando a la parte que todos queremos ver. El Chiron en las calles.
Time to connect the battery. This is the moment that we've worked so long for. And this is going to be the true test of whether we need to do any more work to the engine. The battery goes in underneath the car and there's 4 terminals, 2 positive and 2 negative. We're connecting all of that up and then bolting the battery to the bottom of the carbon monocoque. Then we can bring the car down and start it to see if it will run to temperature. Okay, here's the plan. We get in. I don't think there's a coolant temperature gauge on the dash from what I remember. So I'm going to plug in the autel so I can see live data of the temperature, the coolant temperature. And then what we're looking for is around 90 degrees and then it stays at 90 degrees. The fan should kick in, keep it all nice and cool and we should have no leaks. I'm hoping everything works because Alex has been driving it without the coolant in, which could have caused damage to the engine. This is going to decide it now. Right, there was actually a coolant gauge on the screen, but it was in Fahrenheit. Instead of 90 degrees, we're looking for 194 Fahrenheit. I will plug this into it. Okay.
Vamos a ver. Claro, suena muy bien. Muy bien suena.
sound, innit?
Oh my god. Looking all good at the minute. No leaks.
We still have every single light on the dashboard ever. We've got traction, EPC, airbag, steering, stabilisation control. We've got every light. What I'm going to do, claim it on the auto, but I think a lot of them will come back until we start sorting other stuff out. 148 Fahrenheit so far. Slowly, the temperature started to rise, and the car was drinking more and more coolant. So we had to go back to the tanks and top them both up, the engine and the charge cooling one. And eventually, we was getting close to 194 Fahrenheit. We're at 194, we've gone to 195. 197, and the fan's not come on the front yet.
It has.
The fans are on.
Ahora ahí entraron
If it
los
stays here, if it can stay here.
ventiladores.
Oh, we're 201. Come on, cool down. 201, 201.
198 Fahrenheit is 92 degrees Celsius.
That's not bad at all.
fine.
That is fine.
Let's make
Yeah,
it
it's come back down. It's come back down to 199. We're at 201, we've come back down to 199.
Bien. Ahí él despejaba las dudas sobre realmente si el vehículo había sufrido algún tipo de daños luego de que Ale los condujera, pues sin tener refrigerante dentro del motor. Pero aparentemente y hasta el momento todo indica de que el coche no sufrió realmente daños mayores o realmente no le afectó el que él lo condujera en ese momento con poco refrigerante.
Woo! It is hot in here.
Bob, I think you've done it.
I am relieved.
Vamos a ver esta parte aquí.
We can finally move on to more folks. Come on. Lights next. Let's go.
Yeah.
Was completely destroyed. To the point where it was hard to even tell what it was.
En esta parte yo quiero que ustedes presten atención el por qué yo digo que detrás de cada éxito de una persona hay un equipo que realmente tiene mucho mérito. Y para mí, detrás de Matt, para mí, Bob es una de las piezas claves. Porque fíjense lo que él logra con esta defensa o este parachoque del Bugatti Chiron.
Supposed to look like before the accident. This whole thing is so important because it holds the bumper, it holds the front splitter, it's literally.
Él explica en esta parte que él estuvo buscando personas que él conoce y que se le han acercado a él en los Estados Unidos con Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport y le ofreció desarmarlo para copiar esta parte en 3D y escanearla, pero todo el mundo le dijo que no.
Few people have offered to bring a Bugatti Persport down and we can 3D scan it. We've had a Persport down here to 3D scan the windscreen, the headlights, the actual screen on the top. But what they wouldn't let us do is this front crash bar because nobody, believe it or not.
Ustedes ven, ahí él explica que hubieron personas que le permitieron escanear las luces en 3D, los faros delanteros, perdón, el cristal del techo que le falta a este coche, pero lo que no le permitieron dejar hacer fue desmontarle el frente para copiar la defensa.
Strip their Persport apart so we could scan this. And without scanning one, it's going to be really hard to copy what this crash bar is supposed to look like. We spoke to everyone. And the first person we should have spoken to the whole time was Bob at the machine shop. We gave Bob the broken crash bar, and he was going to do his best to try and replicate it and then copy what he thinks it should have looked like. He said he spent over 60 hours making this full crash beam, using the same aluminium as Bugatti used, cutting it down, welding it, filing it, heating it, doing everything it takes to try and make this front crash bar work. He even had to copy the points where there was loads of mountains, putting in rib nuts and tapping in threads. The amount of work that's gone into this thing is crazy, but the end product is something I just couldn't believe. Oh yeah, that is insane. What the hell is going on?
Here?
What is going
Increíble.
on there? That is ridiculous. I'm not even gonna. How have you done that?
That's not a good guess.
There's no way. Look at the curve. Look at the curve. Look at the curve there.
Literally the same.
That is mad. Like,
E incluso
genuinely,
se ve
how-
con mejor
how the
calidad.
hell- I could understand the bottom bit. The bottom bit looks like it's not damaged. And I thought you were going to use the bottom bit and then weld off that. You've literally made an entire new one. Like how does that even happen? Because we couldn't measure. Every person we spoke to, it just said it's going to be too hard for us because we can't really scan anything. We
Increíble
don't
lo
know
que
how
Bob pudo
it's
lograr
supposed
con
to go.
esto.
If this bolts up, do you think it's going to bolt up?
Yeah, I guessed I'm good.
If this bolts up, that is definitely worth a subscribe to Bob's channel because Bob's going to release a video how he did this.
Si estás llegando y has llegado a esta parte del video, te recomiendo que te suscribas, que compartas el contenido, que me dejes un comentario, pero sobre todo, que me dejes tu like de cómo te está pareciendo esta reacción de este video a lo que tiene que ver con el Bugatti Chiron de más de 6 millones que Matt está reconstruyendo en la ciudad de Miami. Así que continuemos con el video.
Because I'm still mind boggled. I need to see the footage as well because that looks crazy. I guess we won't know. Well, the first test will be to bolt it to that. The second test will be whether everything bolts to it perfectly. But it
Realmente una locura.
sick. Sick.
That is mad.
Realmente una
We've never
locura.
seen it like that. And do the bolt holes line up? Of course they do.
Straight in.
No way. That is actually nuts. Thank you, Bob. Got to be one of the best things you've done so far.
It was the most challenging thing because the engine mount, that was just snapped, welded back together.
Yeah.
Radiators, we had something to measure. It was bent, but we had something to measure. I couldn't take a measurement of that.
Ese tipo una cabra. Ese tipo es the GOAT. Ese tipo una cabra.
It's actually starting to look like a car. Like Alex ain't even seen this yet. He's going to be buzzing. It's not even my car. And that is a 10 out of 10 effort. And is most definitely worth a subscribe. All we need to do now is paint this thing. So that's what we're about to do.
Aquí él lo
First step, I
pintaba
need to add extra. That, though,
y lo
is-
montaba, pero vamos a ver cómo quedaba. Y aquí presten atención, que aquí hay un detalle crítico, tan crítico que él lo dejó para resolverlo en el próximo video, porque realmente de no poder resolverlo desde afuera, el coche va a tener que ser separado nuevamente. Sí, van a tener que dividir el coche en dos partes nuevamente si no pueden resolverlo desde afuera.
You can see the radiators are fitting in, the crash bar is on. We've literally got last little bits now. The headlights are being done, the body panels are being done. But what I want to do is try and get rid of the warning lights on the dashboard because the only sort of warning lights I think we should have now are for no headlights and just little things, nothing serious. So let's see if this has solved the airbag light. I know we had that outstanding one about the pyro fuse, which I want to check up on as well. But let's get the ignition on and see if we can clear those faults. Come on. Okay, what we got? Well, let's erase first and we'll see what comes back. 2 faults for the airbag, still. It's not good. That is not good. Okay, what have we got left? Okay, engine. Let's check the engine because we'll have an engine
Míralo
light
aquí.
if we've got a fault in there. EVAP emission control system pressure sensor input high. So that must be
Presten
unplugged.
atención.
That must be unplugged, whatever that is. EVAP emission control system pressure. Let's find out what that is. Turns out it's for a pressure sensor which sits just on top of the fuel tank. I think it's going to be unplugged. I can't see it being a fault with the pressure sensor in the fuel tank. Fuel tank's behind us. We've not had that out. We're going to have to look for something that's unplugged because of that. Transmission, the weird thing about the transmission, now all of these are passive faults, so they're not active. But for some reason, my reader won't let me delete them. But we have gone through the gears and it all works, but it won't let me delete them unless we have to drive it. The airbag one is the worrying one. Because after I scanned the airbag control module again, I still had the same fault. Front passenger crash sensor circuit open. And battery interruption igniter, that's a pyro fuse. And that's the crash sensor on the front. There's got to be
El
a broken
fusible
wire or something.
pirotécnico.
Let's go see if we can find something that's unplugged in the engine bay and a crash sensor on the front, which has got a broken wire. I looked around the engine bay for a while, especially looking around near where the fuel tank is, because we know it's a pressure sensor which goes around there. But everything was really hard to see now that the car was put back together. But eventually, I did find something. I found it. This is not good. That is not good at all. Okay. Okay, our goal was to drive the car. Our goal was to drive the car and get it rolling. So we're gonna have to come back to this. I'll explain later on what is going on, but that is not good. That is not good. Okay, we need to go and find the airbag fault. Let's find the airbag fault before things get any worse. We'll come back to this. I found the issue here. Ready?
That could be the issue.
So this is the annoying thing. We're finding this more and more and more on cars. Is that sometimes the wiring doesn't look broke at all because it still sits inside the tape. But I've literally just pulled that tape back, and that would explain why this crash sensor isn't working. So let's solder these back up, and that's one issue solved. At least we got one issue. The other one's slightly worse, but okay. Solve this one.
Vamos a adelantarlo otro
Luckily,
poquito por
this is
aquí.
a fairly simple because now we've got battery resistance too high.
El fusible pirotécnico
Porque
también tenía
tiene
problemas. Y ahí tiene que
So
ser
is that fuse?
reemplazado.
Why that is gone, but everything still works. It's still baffling me. I don't know why, but we're gonna have to order one of them and see if we can fix it. For now, let's plug it on and.
Pero lo diferente que tiene en este coche, en este Bugatti, el fusible pirotécnico por lo regular, cuando un vehículo de este tipo, de alto cilindraje, tiene algún tipo de impacto o de accidente, corta toda la energía y el combustible. Pero en este coche, aunque está dañado, mírenlo ahí, el fusible pirotécnico, en este coche sigue funcionando. El coche enciende sin ningún tipo de problema.
Splitting the car in half, fixing the broken gearbox mounting, putting the car back together, repairing the interior, fitting the airbags, making the radiators, the front end.
even the exhaust, are all about to be tested for the first time properly. Because I'm about to take the Bugatti for its first proper drive since the accident.
Y llegaba el momento que todos estábamos esperando y el momento que la única persona en el mundo no quería ver, el CEO de Bugatti. Aquí está, la obra maestra que ha reconstruido Armstrong.
It's a bit of a nerve-wracking moment, and Alex isn't here, but a mechanic should always test drive the car before giving it to a customer. This is my first time ever driving a Chiron as well, and it's like this.
This is crazy.
This is going to be mad. Okay, let's do it. Let's make sure we're in drive.
Literally sounds like we're in a jet.
I will take it easy first. Got no windscreen. Oh, it's driving smooth.
Uf.
Really? Oh, some of the lights come off the dash as well. Some of the lights come off, tractions come off, steering's come off. Oh, she's driving good. Oh, it's so smooth. It's scary as well at the same time. Actually, the car was in half.
Sí, señores.
In half, and I'm now trying to pull it apart again by driving it.
El Chiron está de vuelta. El Chiron está de vuelta. Increíble la presión.
I can feel the blood coming out my feet when I'm holding my body. Jesus, that's so fast.
Increíble. Increíble la presión que ejerce ese carro.
Was one hell of an experience. I've never drove a Chiron before, and that being my first ever Chiron to drive, what an experience that was. We're so close, like everything is coming together. We're hoping that's past the health check. Alex has missed out on this one, but we're trying to get it perfect for him for when he does drive it. We've got a few more mechanical things that we need to solve, like the airbag light, and there's one more thing which I'll show you guys towards the end of the video. I know Bugatti are watching this, and I am trying to do you guys proud on building a massive team together to build all these parts up. Bob has
Increíble.
manufactured this whole front end to fix against all odds, and we've managed to do it. We said we were going to do it regardless of whether we was going to get parts or not, and we're getting closer and closer. The fact it looks like that now, I think, is really cool. We do need to take it back inside and complete our health check to make sure that everything was all good. But something that is cool as well, to commemorate us driving this on the road for the first time, we have just dropped the HWBT shorts and the sports jackets as well. You can grab these on the hwbt.shop website at the minute, but they're only limited numbers. So once they are gone, they're gone, and it's perfect for summer. Let's get her inside and make sure everything is all good and there's no leaks.
Increíble, señores.
A small situation, a little mistake that I made when putting this car back together. Let's get her inside.
First thing we wanted to check is whether that gearbox mount was all good.
I think it's passed the test.
From what I can see, it looks all good.
It looks good. You see this side? This side? Look at that.
And everything looked perfect.
There's no, dare I say, no drastic leaks. Everything is looking good. It's looking so good so far, but there is one issue. And let me show you what we found earlier. Yeah, I've got the plug.
Got the plug.
But the sensor
Qué
is wedged
problema.
between this and the back.
That's really not good.
The only good thing is that I don't think it needs to come all the way out. The only bad thing is that I hope I haven't damaged the sensor. I guess that's what you get for splitting a car in half when you're not doing it before.
The sensor we're on about is right here. And the way that sensor's twisted at
Ese
the sort
sensor.
of 10 pass position, it needs to be at around the 25 minutes to position, if that makes
But we
sense.
should have seen that. Should have seen that. It is. Oh, it's fully wedged. There's got to be a way we can unwedge that. I don't think the car's got to come all the way apart. I think it could come a bit, but still, to make it a bit apart, we've got to disconnect a lot to do that. So the only way to fix that issue and get to that sensor, it seems like we're going to have to split this car apart again, or at least
Desmontar el coche de nuevo por ese sensor.
just a little bit. We could maybe undo all of the bolts. You can't just undo one side because you're going to be leaving it against the other. So maybe we're going to have to undo all the bolts just a tiny bit, just to give that little separation to get that sensor out. If it is broken, we can replace it because I'm sure it's going to be the same on any Volkswagen. But mistakes happen, and we've got the time to do it. We'll probably tackle that over on the second channel. So if you want to head over there to subscribe, if you're not subscribed to this channel.
Así que mi gente, ya lo saben, el Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport que Matt está reconstruyendo en la ciudad de Miami ya fue puesto en las calles, ya fue puesto a prueba y realmente cada día está más cerca de lograr esta hazaña. este coche que realmente ha dado mucho de qué hablar y para mí ha sido el reto más grande que él ha enfrentado y ha decidido pues hacer. Si has llegado hasta este punto del video, te recomiendo que te suscribas a mi canal, que active la campana de notificaciones para que no te pierdas ninguno de los videos que estaremos subiendo a nuestra plataforma, que lo compartas con tus amistades, pero sobre todo que me dejes tu comentario y que me dejes tu like. Así que estén atentos que en esta semana sale video de cómo es el proceso de comprar un Bugatti. Cómo es el proceso, incluyendo el Bugatti Tourbillon que sale pues a mediados o finales de este año, me parece que es. Venimos con actualizaciones del Bugatti Chiron de Armstrong y venimos con una situación que le sucedió a Mark McCann. Fue estafado por una persona con la situación que tiene que ver con la transmisión de su Bugatti Veyron. Así que esta semana estará cargada de mucho contenido. Si no te lo quieres perder, te recomiendo que active la campana de notificaciones, pero sobre todo que me dejes tu like, que compartas el contenido y que me dejes tu comentario. Así que, sin más, nos vemos en la próxima. La verdad oculta.